What is up, guys? Souter the Savage back, and today I'm here with another episode of Souter Stories. Today this is about my experience at the 2016 American League Wildcard game. So let's get this started. So, I have been to 6 Blue Jays playoff games, and I went to 3 in 2015 and 3 in 2016. Now, at the time this would be my 4th playoff game, but the first playoff game where it was actually a do-or-die game. Now, I could have seen ALDS Game 5 in 2015, but my mom took my dad. I was super pissed about it. I will tell that story another time. But, yeah. So, in 2015, I went to see ALDS Game 1 and 2, and then I saw ALCS Game 3. They lost ALDS Games 1 and 2, but they ended up winning ALCS Game 3. So, that was my first ever playoff win, and it was quite a wild one. I'll maybe tell a story about that one. But yes, at this point, the Blue Jays were playing in the wild card. So what happens is, the wild card game, it's 2 teams that didn't win the division, but had the 2 best records. So they play in a 1-game series. The winner moves on to the next round. It's a lot like NFL playoffs, where it's just one and done. So, yeah. Off topic, it would be interesting to see if the NFL playoffs actually had series, but that would take so long. That could take months. That could maybe take around 2 to 3 months at the most. But yeah, that's what I think. But anyways, back to the story. So this was just a regular day at school at first. I was with my bro, Carter. He was actually going to that game too. So eventually we had left school. And eventually I had my mom, her friend Sean, who has Jays season tickets and Cubs season tickets, went to see the wild card game. So he ended up driving me down to downtown. We ended up picking up my mom, and we went for dinner at Lone Star Grill before we went to the Rogers Center. And for the first time ever in playoff history, the roof was open. Now, I remember back in 2015, before I went into Game 1 of the ALDS, I thought to myself, if the roof isn't open for Game 1, it's not going to be open again. And I was right. It was not open. It was closed. But for 2016 AL wildcard game, it was open, so it was an interesting feeling, because the other 3, the wildcard game was the only one to actually be open, because the rest were never open. They were always closed. It was just getting too cold. But this was pretty fun. I usually sit in section 231, but this time we ended up sitting in section 211. So a little different, but still fun. It was better than my other year, because I think we were sitting, 236, but we were pretty high up. We couldn't really see much. You couldn't see the Jumbotron. You couldn't see far out into right field. It was just, they weren't really the greatest seats, but they were seats for the playoffs. That's all that mattered. So starting off the game, Bautista hit a solo shot, which put the Jays up 1-0. But then, of course, later, Mark Trumbo hit a 2-run home run to put the Orioles up 2-1. Now, that whole day, I just remembered one of my teachers at Glenview. He actually didn't teach me. He taught my friend Hayden. But his name was Mr. Bassett Spears. He was a big sports fan. He had told me that if the Jays don't don't score, don't lead the game by the 7th inning, they're not going to win it. Which I had to agree, because I knew their offense was pretty stale, especially in the late part of the game. So I got really nervous about that. But then, of course, Ezekiel Carrera ties it up with a base hit. I was happy. But then I got a little shock in the 7th inning when Hyun-Soo Kim caught a fly ball by Melvin Upton Jr., which was deep into the track, which was in the warning track, but a guy threw a beer at him. He didn't hit him. He missed, but eventually Adam Jones came up. He started yelling at the guy, and Buck Showalter came out to talk to the ump, and it just got crazy. I had eventually found out that I knew he'd be thrown out of the game, guaranteed. He was kicked out of the game. I don't know. We'll call him Can Man, because I actually read that in an article. And then eventually I found out that guy lost his job. And good, because that is a terrible thing to do. But that was actually such an inconvenience, because now they were selling all beer in cups, which took a while to fill, and they were actually if you ever got a bottle of Coke, orange juice, or water, they would actually always have to take off the cap, so just don't spill. I found it annoying. So back to the story, eventually it goes to extra innings, and the whole time, me and my mom, we're looking in the Orioles bullpen, because we were actually above it, and we're looking for Zach Britton, who was Probably the Orioles' best pitcher that year. He ended up winning reliever of the year. I think he was 61 for 61 in saves. He was very good. But eventually it was 2 on, 1 out for Edwin Encarnacion. Now we had a guy on third and second, so I'm thinking anything deep is gonna win it. If it's a fly ball deep to left, center, or right, they're gonna win. Guaranteed. I forgot, I think it was Devin Travis on third and Donaldson on second. I knew Donaldson was on second, I'm not sure who was on third, but I got really nervous, so they had Jimenez, who's a bit of a wild card. He's not the greatest, so eventually Edwin hits it. And it's deep. I'm screaming, yes! Oh my god. It's deep enough. We've won. I hope we won, but we have a really good chance. But then all of a sudden, it went to the second deck. Then all of a sudden, we started screaming. Everyone started screaming. It was by far one of the best moments of my life, just watching Edwin hit that out of there. I ended up we stayed probably about an extra 10 minutes to celebrate, and it was incredible. And that was actually my first ever playoff walk-off that I'd ever seen. Now, my mom and dad, they actually saw 1993 Game 6 of the World Series where Joe Carter hit the walk-off. So, my mom is no stranger to Blue Jays walk-offs and playoffs. But that was incredible. Now, at that point, I'm thinking, what was Buck Showalter thinking? And I don't think anyone knows what he was thinking. I think he should have got fired for that. He didn't, but at the end of the 2018 season, he ended up getting fired. Man, that's a lot. But the drive home wasn't exactly the best. We just had a lot of guys in like the downtown area that would just like walk in kind of recklessly, were just yelling. Sean was getting pretty pissed off, but we ended up getting home, and I was still super hyped. My mom had told me if the Jays had lost the wild card game, we actually ended up going to ALCS Game 3, which was happening on the Sunday of Thanksgiving. Mom said that if they didn't win the wild card, she would just be drinking wine all night out of depression. I probably would have started drinking too. Just kidding. No, I won't. But that is my story for today. Thank you all for watching. If you want to see more Souter stories, I have a link for the other ones that I filmed in the description below. Comment down below what you want to see. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also follow me on Instagram and Snapchat at Souter the Savage. Thank you all for watching. Have a great day. I'm out.